So, hello and welcome to fourth NYC Green School Conference. And this is our fourth edition of annual Green School Conference. Every year we host it at New York. And this year, due to pandemic, we could not reach to New York, but we are hosting this conference virtually today at 9 a.m. New York time. So this conference is intended to bring the solutions related to how we can reimagine the education, because we believe that education is totally disrupted and more than 40 million students across the world are out of school. And now what is the way out, how we can use the environment to empower the education, and how in environment can be used to continue the education, because the whole class-based education system is totally disrupted. So we have invited inspiring speakers from across the world. They will be sharing their solutions, their inspiring stories, and how they are intending to bring back the conventional education, and how they are going to present new normal to the world. So in this conference, I welcome Dr. Karan Webar. She is the founder director of Boston Green Fest. She is hosting Boston Green Fest since last 15 years. She is the one of climate champion. She invested her whole life towards sustainability and empowering community, schools, educator, and many more. We also welcome Dr. Sri S. J. Haider Sahab. He is the Principal Secretary of Climate Change Department, Government of Gujarat. And Climate Change Department is contributing a lot to reduce the carbon emissions. There are a lot of activities is influencing the every life. Recently, they have introduced the electric vehicle subsidy for the students. So at this pandemic, this is the great gift we are looking from Climate Change Department, especially for students who are studying in the higher education sector. So this will bring a lot of relief to students who adopt the sustainable transport or zero carbon transport. Apart from that, we have inspiring speakers like Rob Debin. He is the sustainability coordinator of Koning Willem I College of Netherlands. He has written a lot of content about sustainability skills, and he's leading in the country. And I've gone through his content. He's inspiring man, and his total life he has invested to develop the especially sustainability skills. And then we also welcome Alia Samha. She is the STEM coordinator or STEAM coordinator of Haya International Academy, Cairo, Egypt. And she will be presenting her solution, what she is doing at her school. I also welcome Dr. Kavita Bajpayee. She is the director, co-founder of International School of Thrissur. I also welcome Sarah Jane Brady. She is the head of education, engagement, wildlife, Malta. She could not come because she is not feeling well, so she has sent her presentation to us. I also welcome Wafa Abdul Ghaffar. She is the principal of Sheikh Zayed International Academy, Islamabad, Pakistan, and she is teaching IB curriculum in Islamabad students. I'm sure that she is contributing a lot of things in sustainability, as IB is all about sustainability. I also welcome Satyendra Bhandari. He is the principal of government school in Uttarakhand, India. He contributed a lot in green skill through his schooling, through his schools. He is known for a community champion or climate champion in that community, and he's contributing a lot. Other session, I also welcome Madeline Orr, Assistant Professor, Sport Management, State University of New York, Cortland campus. And she is also founder of co-director of Sport Ecology Group. Dr. Brian McLeod, Associate Professor of Texas A&M University, Texas. Jane G, the President of Spring Bay Studio, Toronto. She is developing the Green Games. And Tori Hakalo, Education Coordinator, Wilton Wildlife Preservation Park at New York. She do a lot of outdoor activity for school students. And Carla Boja, she is the coffee farmer researchers, and she doing empowering coffee farmer and bringing sustainability in the farming. And Barsaben Doshi, she is the principal and former member of State Legislative Assembly, Gujarat. And Dr. Jonathan Hart and Bestie Freeman, and they are from the Reddington Township School District of New Jersey, America. I also welcome Dr. Shivaji Bandyopadhyay. He is Director of National Institute of Technology, India. National NIT Silchar is one of the leading institute of India, Technology Institute. And Laura Kim Joyner, she is Acting Secretary and of Parrot Researcher Group, America. She's written 2 books and she's contributed a lot in sustainability through her ministry or various work she is doing in her life. Naresh Dable, he is the head of marketing and knob sealing because he provide sound solution for the green classroom. Amishi Parasrampuria, she is founder of Upcycle Lab. Professor Pramita Sen, she is lecturer of Bronx Community College, City University of New York. Professor Neil Philip, Deputy Chairperson of the Department of Chemistry, Earth Science, and City University of New York. I also welcome Dr. Max Frieder, Executive Director and renowned artist and co-founder of Artolution New York. Pragna Basupal, she is head of Green Hope UAE, and then Sarah Camisoli, founder and former executive director of Integrate NYC. They are working for equality and justice in New York City. Lee Nunes, she is also executive director of Integrate NYC. Lena Khaila, founder of Sea Fighter Toronto. She is trying to bring making women more stronger than before. Wendy Diamond is a woman entrepreneur mentor. She's mentored many women and made them entrepreneur, and she's working across the globe. And Dr. Bida Sabhagi she is the founder and executive director of COP NYC. COP NYC is the great group of artists. She is the curator of many museum of New York. So these are my speakers today. So now it's time to start opening address. So I invite Dr. Karan to deliver her opening address. Dr. Karan Webar Samlana is an educator and environmentalist. She works toward her vision of a greener world and a world which plants cover our cities in the form of green roof, living walls, urban farms and gardens, and a bluer world in which the ocean of all water and life within we are able to thrive. Dr. Karan Webar Samlana has a doctorate in law, policy, and society from the Northeastern University, and she is the lead AP. And I know Dr. Karan. We are associated with the Boston GreeFest in so many years, and she is doing as much and she can to make Boston city more livable and more sustainable. She also influenced the local government, and she applies her policy through government and inspiring the government authorities to making Boston city more sustainable and to create a sustainable society for sustainable world. So I welcome Dr. Karan to start your welcome address, inaugural address. Dr. Karan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Virendra Rawat.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for all those who have made it possible for this event to happen,
yes,
and for all of the attending and participating in this wonderful program. It's indeed so important to continue having these types of programs where we can connect with each other and learn as much as we can from each other, because that is the way we continue to be hopeful in this time, in the time that's somewhat upside down, where policies don't necessarily follow what our hearts would like them to, where our administrations, not just in our country, but across the globe, are finding conservative ideas over progressive ones, and where the grassroots people have to really push harder to go ahead and make change. And that's where education comes in. And that's where we have to teach the little ones all the way up through all the way up. And I thought I would start today with a story that, the story that sort of helped guide us when we began Boston GreeFest. I don't know how many of you are familiar with a story called Stone Soup, and if any of you have ever eaten stone soup. This is a story about two travelers who were going from across a space and came to a village, and it seemed that the village was fairly well-to-do, and they thought, oh, they're so tired and hungry, surely if they knock on one of the doors, someone will open and let them have something to eat. And they knocked on the first door, and this woman pretty much heard their story and shut the door in their face. They went on to the next house, and the little boy answered the door, and he said, I'm so sorry, we have nothing for you. And they went from one house to the next for a little bit, and finally realized they weren't going to get anywhere. So they went to the middle of the plaza in the village, and they decided that they would call out and say, does anyone want to know about our wonderful stone soup? We're both wonderful chefs, and we'd love to share it with you. And someone heard them calling, and they said, oh, I want to see. And they said, well, we need a pot. And so the person brought out a big pot, and they need some wood for the fire. And someone helped bring wood, and they lit a fire. And, well, we're going to need some water. And they helped them get water from the well. So now they had a big pot steaming, and they took a simple, nice flat rock, and they threw the rock into the pot and said, this is how the magic begins. But then they said, this soup would taste wonderful if we had a few carrots. Anyone have any carrots? So someone comes running with a carrot or two. And then they said, well, it would even taste better if we had some onions. And then before you know it, someone's bringing onions. And I think a potato or two might be good. Suddenly, magically, a potato appears. And they keep going. And before you know it, so many vegetables appear and are thrown into the pot, and parsley goes into the pot, and cilantro goes into the pot, and all kinds of wonderful things start brewing together and making a great aroma. And more of the villagers come out of their homes, and they realize this is going to be a huge banquet with a big stew and a wonderful stone soup. And they bring the tables and the chairs and the plates. And before you know it, the entire village is gathered around the square, enjoying a meal together. In that respect, you know, it didn't take much. It took imagination. It took that one stone. Well, I had a stone. We had a stone. We had City Hall Plaza, which, if any of you have been to Boston, know that is a big stone plaza. And our stone, we called out to people and said, we have a space, we have our stone, come and join the soup. And so someone came and helped, and we're vending t-shirts, and another came and is talking about renewable energy, and another came and talked about electric vehicles, and another came and talked about recycling through art, and another came and we set up an eco fashion show, and another came and um, performed beautiful music with a wonderful message for the audience. And before you know it, our stone soup was steaming and delicious, and everyone could partake, and everyone could share, and everyone could sit next to each other, stand with each other, get to know each other. And that, I feel, is such an important message for everyone, that education isn't just a one-on-one. It's not just an exchange between the teacher and the student, but it's the teachers and the students, because each student is potentially a teacher and each teacher is potentially a student. And when we have a large community, we sometimes think that each one has a specific role, but actually our roles are interchangeable at all times. And when we want to help move policy along, help increase awareness about important issues such as the environment, we need to see that everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Everyone has potential, and everyone is holding a stone in their pocket, ready to receive and ready to give. And we've been very fortunate that so we started a nonprofit called Foundation for a Green Future in the December 2007. And 8 months later, we had the opportunity to start a festival. It was not something that we had planned, nor was the foundation. The foundation was planned because we realized there was a need. There was a need to increase awareness. People were not understanding how important nature is in their lives, how important nature is in our urban space. Green roofs, living walls, gardens, trees, flowers, plants, vegetables. It's all part of what makes our lives special and what makes us healthy, what feeds us, what nourishes our soul. Without this, we go through life somewhat in a desert and in a more barren space. We need to fill our lives with nature. Nature gives us not only food, but the medicine, the health, the healing. Walking through the woods, we know, makes a difference in the whole chemistry of what we breathe and how we feel. And when we build a city that becomes brick and glass and steel, and we take away the nature of that space, we will never be able to thrive until we figure out how we can make a balance. And consequently, Foundation for a Green Future was begun, and therefore 8 months later we were offered an opportunity to create a community festival. And we realized it wasn't originally our idea of what education was about. We had thought we were just going to be in classrooms and we were going to conduct various workshops. But here we had that big stone beckoning to us to make that stone soup. From that point, we really had a good fortune to see how we could increase policy on different levels. Policy in terms of innovation and green jobs. So that in those first years of Boston Green Fest, we had something called the 1 Gallon Challenge. We had innovative individuals who created, I would say, not so much cars, but vehicles that could go 100 miles to a gallon. And we tested them, and they went from 100 miles away from City Hall and drove to City Hall. We did not make them empty their gas tank to only 1 gallon. What we did do is we made them fill the gas tank, and we measured how much gas they used by the time they got to City Hall, and discovered that some even made over 100 miles to the gallon. Of course, now we're at a point where through electric vehicles, through hybrids. We're now doing it. We don't need the independent individuals, but now there's so many other things that we're looking at and how we can move into the future. I think when we talk about environment and we talk about green, we have to make sure that we're encompassing every aspect of our lives. That's why I'm so excited to even see the program that's put before you today and what you'll be discussing. Because for us, the spectrum of green is every shade. It's every shade of the biodiversity, and biodiversity starting with ourselves, starting with the people that we know, the people in this world, that if it's just a conversation among one group of people, or if it's a work that sits just in one area of the world, we are not going to solve climate change. We are not going to be better stewards of this planet. We can only do it by receiving and exchanging the views of many, and becoming strong, because we are involving indigenous ideas, perceptions that are backed by all different cultures. What I see from sitting in Boston and as an American woman is something very different than some of you sitting in India. And we might be looking at the same forest or the same piece of land, but we're going to see it differently. And only until we're able to let each other know what we're thinking and how we're thinking, are we going to be able to understand that. We also have to recognize that amongst us, there are some who are not as fortunate. And we need to be able to bring dignity and decency to every individual across the globe, where everyone has their basic needs met for food, housing, health, and the potential to have a job if they're able to. And this is something that, unfortunately, even in our countries where there is such wealth and such abundance, there are those who are going with almost nothing. And this is also the message of the climate telling us that the same kinds of things are happening, where there's going to be abundant rain, there's going to be abundant heat, there's going to be drought, there's going to be storm, there's going to be extreme weather, until we start to recognize that everybody needs to be up one level where they can at least be on one equal playing field and move from there. I believe that we have to look at the world in the same way, saying, we need to make a change. We need to come together and listen to each other, not just with our minds, but with our hearts, and be fully grateful for what we do have, and start to appreciate it in a way that through our education with each other, that message comes through. That every time someone teaches, that they teach from their heart as well as their knowledge from their mind, because both have to be in sync. Now, in Massachusetts with Boston GreeFest, we've been able to move forward on several different planes. We have been able to show a lot of different innovative technologies and small businesses, help them get launched, help them get visibility. We've also been able to bring that to our state house and our legislators so that they can understand how important these things are. We have also been able to point out what is necessary to consider about water. We started the Massachusetts Water Forum and Youth Summit. And that takes place at the State House so that our legislators can learn more, so their aides can learn more. And so they'll be more informed when they make policy. This year, we are launching an actual space called the Green Learning Center, where people will be able to come and try out best practices in organic farming and gardening, in different forms of technologies, whether it's solar cooking or whether it's green roofs and living walls. whatever forms of technology are coming along, different companion plantings, um, how we can incorporate plants and technologies from different parts of the world here, and to what extent we'll be able to help share that out with others. And so this is a very exciting time for us too. So I would say that in the face of COVID-19, where people are suffering in so many places due to probably a lack of nature or connection with nature, and a lack of their connection to themselves so that they can be healthier, eat healthier, um, have the fitness that they need to keep their immune systems in good shape. We have to not feel that things are without the rainbow that would be coming. When I always believe, and we've always said, that when things get rough, then whatever rough sea we're going through, at some point you come out and there's a calm ocean ahead of you, and there's a shining space in front of you to make that next thing happen. And hopefully this rough moment is helping us so that we can get through the storm of climate change, of the difficulties that may be in front of us, the challenges that are in front of us, that will make us all better humans, a better world society, and more connected to our nature and all living beings around us. So with that, I would like to ask Virendra, I believe you have a film that's set up for
Yes,
me?
I have your film. I'll
Yes,
actually, I have another speaker now. I'll just show it after the next speaker.
the film?
Yeah, film.
Oh, you're not able to show it right now?
Yeah, right now. I'll just show you after the next speaker. Just continue.
Okay, all
Right.
right. Well,
Yeah.
I hope you all enjoy it.
Yes, yeah, I'll do
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And may you all stay safe and healthy.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you. So now I request Dr. Bijal Shah. Uh, he is the director of Gujarat Energy and Development